Well, I'm camped at 750 metres on the Bala Lavan, which is between two Munros, Gael Khan, which is up that way, and Ben Achlacher, which is up that way. I will be heading up Gael Khan fairly soon, once I've packed up. Though I must admit, relaxing here in this camp is very nice, especially as, for once, I've brought this Crazy Creek original 2.0 chair, which is very nice for sitting outside and has the advantage, as it doesn't have legs, that you can use it inside the tent as well. Now, I don't usually bring a chair. Years and years ago, I had a thermarest one in which you put your thermarest to form the seat and the backrest. And that was very comfortable for a short while, but eventually the thermarest punctured due to using it, and I stopped using it. And I hadn't taken a chair camping again until last summer, when I was sent this one to test. And I must admit, it is very nice to have, especially when the weather's like this. It's warm and sunny. There's a light breeze to keep off midges and any biting insects, and I can sit outside and not have to sit on a mat with no backrest. There are no big rocks or anything round here to lean against, or trees, so to have it is quite good. And I mean, I can use it during the day, and it acts as a sit mat. So I brought it instead of the foam pad that I usually carry. I could even sleep on it if necessary, but as I say, it's very nice to have. And the tent has done fine. Not that it's been a severe test for it, as the wind has been relatively gentle, but it's nice and roomy. It is slightly bigger than the original Hubba NX. It's got slightly more headroom, and it's slightly longer, so a full-length mat still leaves room at either end to store items. And the porch is easily big enough for cooking in, even with the door shut, which I did have last night for my last brew, as there were midges about, because once the sun had gone down and the breeze dropped, they came out. But you can cook with the door closed quite safely and store your pack. My pack's at that end there. So all in all, it's a nice tent. And of course, the big thing for this one, with the earlier model and with the LT, the lightweight model, is that it's got a much tougher ground sheet with a higher hydrostatic head, and a fly sheet with a higher hydrostatic head. It's the ground sheet, I think, is significant for UK use. Even here, the ground, despite the fact it's been dry most of the time for quite a while, is still damp. It's one reason why the chair's nice. I'd be sitting on a mat otherwise. If you put enough pressure on the ground, you can feel the damp coming through. So in the Scottish Highlands, it's rare that you're camping on bone dry ground, so to have a tough ground sheet is always a good idea. And low hydrostatic heads mean the ground sheet is going to fail sooner rather than later, which is why quite often a footprint is recommended. I don't like footprints. They're fiddly. They add weight, which isn't included in the ultra lightweight of quite a lot of tents, but you need to add it on. They add weight, and of course, if they don't come with the tent, they add cost. But I always think a tent should have a ground sheet that is adequate on its own without needing reinforcement, and that should be the case with this one. The walls of the fly sheet, the bottom of the fly sheet, still quite a way above the ground, but the inner has got high walls to keep out any breezes. There's mesh high up but solid walls round about, so unlike I think the original Hubba NX, this should be fine for most of the year. In fact, fine except if it's snowing, because there are mesh panels and snow can blow through mesh panels and could come underneath, you know, the fly sheet. But overall, so far, it's a good little tent. And I'll be finding out how tough it is in the weeks and months to come. But for now, I should finish my last cup of coffee and pack up and start heading up there. There is plenty of room in the Hubba HD1 for a full-length mat with space either side and at each end for storing gear. There's also 2 mesh pockets at each end in which you can put small items, and mesh pockets and hanging tags in the roof as well. For a solo tent, this is really quite roomy. And a walk round the camp. It's a lovely spot. I imagine in wetter weather it would be rather boggy though, but at the moment the ground is fairly dry. And as I move round the tent, the Lochen, which is not far below, comes into view. And then there's the sun flaring madly, and here's the tent.